Let's be completely honest for a second. How much cash have you already flushed down the toilet at supplement stores? All those massive plastic tubs with flashy neon labels promising to give you back the muscle mass of a 30-year-old athlete? Hydrolysates, isolates, triple filtered whey. For years, the fitness industry has been drilling it into our heads that if you're over 60, you shouldn't even bother walking into a gym without these expensive powders, claiming your muscles will literally melt away otherwise. But let's come back down to earth and look at your actual blood work and your reflection in the mirror. You're drinking this protein scoop after scoop. Your stomach is starting to throw a quiet tantrum, but the scale and the measuring tape just stubbornly refuse to move. What gives? You're working out. You're honestly packing your body with protein, but it feels like your system is just letting it pass right through on autopilot. Sounds familiar? The funny thing is, the fitness industrial complex deliberately keeps its mouth shut about a certain physiological injustice. It actually has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of your protein powder or how many chicken breasts you force down your throat. As we get older, our bodies trigger a mechanism that scientists call anabolic resistance. To put it in plain English, it's like a thick layer of heavy armor that your muscles use to lock out any incoming protein. You could eat a pound of the finest, most expensive steak, but your cells simply won't see it. The lock is totally rusted, and the key won't turn. But what if I told you there's one dirt-cheap compound, completely legal, sitting on the bottom shelf of any local store for literally pennies, that works like a heavy-duty rust remover for that exact lock? And here's the kicker. It does the job way more effectively than a 5-pound tub of elite isolate that costs a fortune. No, it's not hormones, it's not magic, and it's not a secret military experiment. It's pure biochemistry, and today we are going to break it down piece by piece. Today, you will learn exactly how to force your body to absorb every single crumb of protein you consume and finally trigger the growth of hard, dense, functional muscle, even if you are well past 60. To understand exactly why your past attempts at building muscle, or even just maintaining a tight, solid frame, have hit a brick wall, let's look at a very simple analogy. Imagine your body as a busy construction site. Back in your 20s, this site was a masterpiece of efficiency. The foremen were young, the workers were fast, and the bricks, which represent protein, were delivered right on time and immediately put to use. The walls practically built themselves. But once you cross the 60-year mark, the landscape shifts completely. The truck still delivers the bricks to the site right on schedule. You faithfully chug your pricey whey shake or eat your Greek yogurt. But here's the catch. The workers on the site have suddenly gone completely deaf and blind. These massive piles of protein get dumped into a chaotic heap. They sit there as dead weight, and the foreman, your changing hormonal profile, just lazily waves his hand and says, "All right, boys, we can't process this." Toss a bit of it into the back storage and dump the rest in the trash. In the end, instead of getting firm biceps and a strong, resilient back, you end up with nothing but extra strain on your kidneys and a bloated stomach. Why does this happen? As we age, our bodies flip the switch to a strict energy-saving mode. The sensitivity of your cellular receptors to amino acids plummets. The exact amount of protein that caused an absolute explosion of muscle growth when you were 25 barely gets a tired sigh out of your body at 60. To smash through this invisible wall, your average internet fitness guru will give you the same old robotic advice. Just eat more protein. Drink 2 shakes a day. But that is a complete dead end. Look, if your kitchen sink is completely clogged, it's pretty stupid to turn the faucet on full blast. You're just going to flood the house. You need to clear the actual blockage first. Piling up massive doses of expensive sports powders later in life is practically a financial crime against your own wallet. First of all, the excess protein simply won't digest because your gut enzymes aren't as aggressive as they used to be. Second, your body will start breaking down that extra protein into glucose through a grueling chemical loop, overworked liver included. This means you are literally buying an incredibly expensive product just so your body can convert it into basic sugar. Brilliant business model for the fitness corporations, wouldn't you say? The core problem with muscle tissue in older adults is the loss of mitochondria, our internal cellular power plants, and a catastrophic drop in fluid pressure inside the cells. The muscles of an aging body literally lose water at a cellular level. They become dry, withered, and way less responsive to neural impulses. When you lift weights, the muscle fiber doesn't receive a loud enough signal to repair itself. No signal means zero protein synthesis. The loop is closed. And this is exactly where our main character steps onto the stage today. A substance that costs next to nothing, yet possesses a truly unique superpower. It forces water molecules and vital nutrients straight inside the muscle cell, blowing it up from the inside out and generating a massive anabolic response. It literally screams at your lazy construction workers, "Hey, wake up! The materials are here! Get to work!" And it does this so elegantly and safely that high-end supplement manufacturers are losing their minds trying to hide this cheap ingredient inside their overly complex, overhyped formulas just so they can sell it to you at a 10 times markup under the guise of some proprietary blend. But we are not going to overpay for a fancy label. In the next part, we are going to strip away the marketing smoke and mirrors, call this compound by its real name, and dissect its exact molecular mechanics. You'll be surprised at how beautifully simple and logical it all really is. Alright, let's drop the act and pull back the curtain. The exact substance that billion-dollar American fitness empires have been using to build their marketing kingdoms for decades, hiding it inside pricey pre-workout blends and advanced designer capsules, is nothing more than plain, pure creatine monohydrate. Now hold on. Before you close this video thinking, "Oh, I already know about that. That's just for 20-year-old gym bros trying to flex," stop right there. This is the single biggest misconception in modern fitness, and it is actively robbing millions of men over 60 of hard, functional muscle, rock-solid stability, and sharp coordination. Fitness marketing made a massive blunder by selling creatine exclusively to 19-year-olds looking to pump up their biceps for beach season. The reality? If you are over 60, you need creatine significantly more, and it works on a mature body at a much deeper, far more effective level. Let's break down the biochemistry on a napkin, completely free of dry textbook jargon. What exactly is creatine? It is a completely natural compound that your body already knows how to synthesize on its own, and it also absorbs it from food, mostly from red meat and fish. But here is the catch. To get a therapeutic, working dose of creatine from regular food, you would have to force-feed yourself a massive 3 to 4 pounds of fresh beef every single day. Your digestive system and your bank account would pull the ripcord by day 3. That is precisely why a clean, white, unflavored powder of pure monohydrate, which costs about as much as a couple of cheap cups of coffee for a massive tub, is an absolute lifesaver. So, how exactly does this cheap powder hack that stubborn anabolic resistance we talked about in Part 1? Think back to what muscles look like in your youth. They are springy, full, hydrated, and packed with explosive energy. As the years roll by, as harsh as it sounds, our tissues naturally start to wither. Dehydration happens directly at the cellular level. The cell shrivels up, its internal metabolic conveyor belt slows down to a crawl, and it loses its ability to hold on to vital nutrients. You can chug gallons of clean water all day long, but it will just circulate through your bloodstream and leave your body without ever parking inside your muscle fibers. Creatine monohydrate possesses a truly unique physical property. It acts as a high-powered cellular hydromagnet. Once it enters your system, it accumulates directly inside your skeletal muscle tissue and starts pulling water molecules right along with it. Pay close attention here. This is not the kind of fluid retention that makes your face puffy, your ankles swell, or leaves you looking bloated under the skin. This is intracellular hydration, or cell volumization. It happens deep inside the muscle itself. What happens to a shriveled, exhausted muscle cell when creatine forcefully packs it with water? 1. The balloon effect. The cell instantly expands, inflating its overall volume. Visually, your muscles look noticeably denser, firmer, and tighter within just 7 to 10 days of starting. 2. Triggering anabolic pressure. When the walls of a cell stretch from this internal fluid pressure, it sends a massive mechanical distress signal to your body. The cellular membrane fires a message straight to headquarters. Warning, we are experiencing major structural tension. We need to reinforce the framework immediately. And boom, only at that exact moment does your protein synthesis machine actually turn on. Our thick layer of anti-anabolic armor is shattered. Now that protein shake or steak you just consumed is finally routed straight to the construction site of your muscle fibers instead of evaporating into nothingness. 3. Waking up satellite cells. These are specialized stem cells dormant inside our muscles that essentially go to sleep as we age. Creatine acts as an alarm clock for them, forcing them to divide, multiply, and fuse with older muscle fibers, completely renewing their genetic potential. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. The real magic of creatine lies in its ability to instantly resurrect your body's primary energy currency, a molecule called ATP. Think of your muscles as being packed with millions of tiny microscopic batteries. When you climb a steep flight of stairs, carry heavy bags of groceries, or grind out a tough set at the gym, these batteries drain completely flat in a matter of seconds. In your youth, your internal generator recharged them instantly. After 60, that generator is sputtering. You make one physical effort, and you need to sit down for 5 minutes just to catch your breath. Creatine is essentially a hyper-fast wireless supercharger. It instantly donates its own molecular pieces to those dead batteries, converting them back into pure, raw energy in a fraction of a second. What does that mean for you in real life? You step up to a physical task, and instead of hitting a wall at 5 or 6 repetitions when your muscles start to burn and fail, you confidently push through 10 or 12. No wild spikes in heart rate, no gasping for air. You give the muscle the precise physical stimulus it needs to grow, a stimulus that was previously completely out of reach due to a basic lack of cellular fuel. And the best part? While the fitness industry is busy trying to sell you an overpriced, isolated whey protein matrix infused with branch-chain amino acids for astronomical prices, a modest, unglamorous tub of creatine monohydrate does all the heavy lifting at the microscopic level. Without it, even the most expensive protein on Earth is just premium construction material left rotting outside in the rain. But how do you force this dirt-cheap powder to run at 100% capacity without overwhelming your system? What hidden scientific facts are supplement companies hiding from you just to keep you hooked on their multi-ingredient stacks? We are breaking down the ironclad scientific data in the very next block. If you're still holding on to a bit of skepticism, thinking, come on, there's no way a plain white powder from the bottom shelf can outperform high-tech sports science, let's strip away the emotional bias and look at the cold, hard data. Fitness influencers love throwing around hype and buzzwords, but we are going to look at strict, peer-reviewed international science. Creatine is arguably the most thoroughly researched compound in human history. We are talking about over 1,000 independent clinical trials, and over the last few years, the focus of top-tier researchers has aggressively shifted away from teenage bodybuilders and directly onto older adults. The results of these recent trials have completely shocked gerontologists. Major global institutes of sports medicine recently conducted a series of long-term experiments tracking men and women between the ages of 60 and 85. They split the participants into 2 groups. Both groups performed light, basic resistance training 2 to 3 times a week. However, the first group received a basic placebo, a sugar pill, while the second group was given a modest daily serving of pure creatine monohydrate. Their diets were kept identical, with 0 high-end sports supplements allowed. When researchers analyzed the final MRI scans and muscle force output data, the numbers were staggering. pure muscle mass gain. The group taking creatine gained an average of 38% more lean, functional muscle tissue than the placebo group, and this was over a modest 12-week cycle. Crushing myostatin levels. This right here is a massive medical breakthrough. Myostatin is a stubborn, counterproductive protein inside our bodies that acts as a genetic brake pad. It literally stops your muscles from growing. As we age, myostatin levels skyrocket because the aging body tries to shed energy-expensive muscle tissue. Clinical blood work showed that creatine actively suppresses myostatin production in older adults, effectively shutting down the body's internal muscle-wasting program. Defeating sarcopenia. Sarcopenia is the medical term for age-related muscle wasting, the process where dense, firm muscle fibers gradually get replaced by stubborn fat and connective tissue. It's the root cause of physical frailty, weakness, and loss of balance. The science is definitive. Creatine doesn't just slow sarcopenia down, it can help reverse it, restoring original density and tightness to the muscle wall. A critical note on safety. A lot of people worry that creatine wrecks your kidneys or spikes your blood pressure. This is a total myth left over from bad journalism in the 1990s. Years of long-term tracking have confirmed that in healthy older adults, regular use of creatine at standard dosages causes absolutely zero negative shifts in kidney filtration markers. Serum creatinine levels stay perfectly within normal individual ranges, provided you don't abuse the protocol. But scientists stumbled upon another fantastic side effect that the muscle-bound fitness industry completely overlooks. It turns out that our skeletal muscles are far from the only consumer of creatine in the human body. A massive chunk of this compound is actively consumed by your brain. The mature human brain is an incredibly power-hungry supercomputer. It accounts for just about 2% of your total body weight, but it hoards up to 20% of your body's entire ATP energy supply. When ATP production drops with age, we begin to experience what doctors call brain fog. You forget where you dropped your keys, it becomes harder to focus, and you feel mentally drained after basic cognitive tasks. The exact same clinical trials showed that regular creatine monohydrate supplementation in older adults noticeably improves working memory, sharpens information processing speeds, and protects brain cells from mild hypoxia, cellular oxygen deprivation. This means that by picking up a cheap compound to tone your arms and support your back, you are getting a powerful built-in shield against cognitive decline and a sharper, faster mind as an added bonus. No whey protein on the planet, no matter how premium, can give your central nervous system that kind of direct energy boost. Now that we have the ironclad proof, we face the ultimate practical question. How do you actually take this white powder correctly to get maximum results for both your muscles and your brain, avoid the classic rookie mistakes, and keep from wasting a single dollar? I am laying out the exact no-nonsense protocol in the very next block. Let's move from theory to pure execution. How do you actually integrate this tool into your daily routine to get a 100% success rate at the cellular level without throwing your system out of whack? Throw away the instructions printed on the back of those flashy tubs meant for 20-year-old gym rats. We don't need to put extreme, unnecessary stress on your body. Our goal is safe, steady, long-term optimization. The fitness world is still obsessed with a method called loading, where they tell you to chug 20 grams of creatine a day for the first week, split into 4 heavy doses, before dropping down to a maintenance serving. For a mature digestive system, which thrives on predictability and calm, that is a terrible blueprint. Loading with massive doses can cause stomach cramps, bloating, or mild digestive issues. Instead, we are going to use the scientifically backed route of gradual saturation. It yields the exact same long-term results, it just takes about 20 to 25 days for your muscle cells to reach maximum capacity instead of 5 days. The massive trade-off? It is incredibly gentle, completely unnoticed by your stomach, and 100% safe for your digestion. Here is your perfect daily blueprint, laid out point by point. 1. The perfect dosage. Your daily sweet spot is strictly 5 grams. That is exactly 1 level teaspoon. Anything more is a waste. Your body will simply filter out the excess naturally. Anything less won't create enough internal cellular pressure to break through your anabolic resistance. 2. Strategic timing. On days when you have any form of physical activity, whether that's a workout in the gym, heavy gardening, or a long, brisk walk, take your creatine immediately after the exertion. That is when your muscles open up a literal nutrient window. Blood flow is highly elevated, and your cells are primed to soak up compounds like a dry sponge. On your rest days, take it first thing in the morning on an empty stomach, about 15 to 20 minutes before breakfast. 3. The shuttle system. Creatine is a bit chemically stubborn. To clear your stomach without degrading and pass directly into your bloodstream, it needs a driver, a hormone called insulin. And the easiest way to spike your insulin just enough is to pair it with a few simple, high glycemic carbohydrates. Do not just stir this powder into plain water. Wash it down with a glass of warm water mixed with a spoonful of honey, a glass of apple juice, or grape juice. 4. Hydration rules. Remember, we established that creatine acts as a magnet for water. For it to actually pack your muscles with fluid and trigger that anabolic growth signal, you have to give it water to work with. You don't need to force down gallons, but you should aim to add an extra 2 to 3 glasses of clean water to your usual daily intake. If you stay dehydrated, the creatine simply cannot unlock its true physical potential. And finally, let's look just beyond the horizon of basic muscle tone. Pure creatine monohydrate carries a couple of massive health bonuses that standard fitness trainers rarely mention, but are absolutely critical for men over 60. The first is bone mineral density enhancement. Clinical tracking shows that as muscle cells swell and begin to contract with greater structural force, they exert a distinct mechanical pull on the bone architecture they attach to. Your skeletal system responds to this continuous tension by pulling in minerals and reinforcing its density. If you want a built-in shield against age-related osteoporosis and a massive safety net against dangerous fractures from accidental trips or falls, this is an invaluable bonus. The second is slashing systemic inflammation. As the years accumulate, our bodies naturally build up markers of chronic cellular stress. Creatine acts as a mild, direct antioxidant deep inside your muscle fibers. It helps repair micro-tears faster, reduces overall physical fatigue, and completely eliminates that stiff, achy, unpleasant feeling in your joints and limbs when you first get out of bed in the morning. You are essentially buying a comprehensive, dirt-cheap shield for your longevity that rejuvenates your body from the inside out on a molecular level, all while the mainstream supplement industry keeps pushing flashy, multicolored junk packages designed to drain your wallet. Look, you can keep burning hundreds of dollars on premium isolates and mass-market gainers hoping to somehow outsmart Father Time, or you can take this exact, battle-tested scientific blueprint today, go pick up a basic tub of pure monohydrate for pennies, and start forcing your body to reclaim its original density, strength, and vitality. The choice, as always, is entirely yours. But keep this in mind. Even the highest grade creatine and the most flawless protein intake can be completely wiped out by one critical mistake that 90% of men make during their ordinary breakfast routine. There is a specific staple sitting on your kitchen table right now that actively blocks nutrient absorption and tanks your free testosterone. To make sure you aren't accidentally sabotaging your own progress from day one, make sure to click and watch this video right here, where I break down exactly what you need to scrape off your plate first thing in the morning.